Hi everyone! So I was intending initially to make a video covering each and every quad from the ColourPop and Hello Kitty collection individually, but the whole process of filming all of my Sydney Grace palettes and then wanting to get something out for Menagerie Cosmetics has really taken up a lot of my time because I have to film each look on a separate day. I don't really ever film 2 looks in one day. I just don't really have time to film another 4 looks with each of the 4 quads without falling even further behind on things that I've been wanting to like show off. But I'm still just like so far behind. I know the collection has released at this point a really long time ago, so I just wanted to quickly get it out of the way. I also don't really want to review it anyways. I don't really consider myself savvy enough to review things, so I thought it would be okay for me to just call this like a demo of the collection and then you guys can take from it what you will, since it's not like I really am confident enough to put like a firm stamp of approval on something if I've only used it like once. So it's already in the afternoon. I initially was going to film earlier this morning and then I fell asleep. Classic. So I'm just going to start with my Hera Glow Lasting foundation right here, and I'm just gonna go straight in with this. I had just put skincare, a little bit of skincare on, so my face is kind of hydrated. I don't really want to put a primer on top of everything, so we'll just go with this. I'm like trying to get into more of a routine and I keep like having things interrupt me. Like for example, Buster keeps having way more vet appointments than I ever had planned for because I keep somehow going to the worst animal hospitals in the area, like I swear. Yeah, I didn't mean for this to be super chatty or anything, but just very quickly, definitely shop around if you ever need to take your animal to a specialty hospital. The first one I went to, they really were just out to take my money. They had such terrible communication, they felt really incompetent, and ultimately it just felt like they just wanted my money. So I wasted a $200 consultation fee with them, which obviously I'm not super happy about. I found another place that seems to be much more responsive, and it's gonna be another $140 just to consult with them again. And I'm like super salty, but yeah, just do your shopping, because when I got the price estimate for what he needs to have done from the first place, my eyes about popped out of my skull. It's not a matter of I don't actually have the money for him, but it was a matter of this is genuinely overcharging me. So if something doesn't feel right to you, get a second opinion. Like, I know I'm gonna have to pay more in consultation fees, but based on the estimates I got from the second place, I think I'm still gonna come out on top monetary wise going to this place than if I had just stuck with the first place. That was just outrageous. And it's so annoying because like we all love and care for our animals, and there's just places like this that are out to like take my money and, you know, whatever. It's like, really? Like you're gonna prey on people like that? Next I'm gonna be concealing with my favorite concealer. You guys know. Do I even need to say anything else about this concealer? I like only use this, so let's quickly cover these. I really just want to go ahead and dig straight into the eyes. I'm just kind of trying to speed through my base a little bit. Do you see you can kind of see the difference here, right? I'm actually probably going to use bronzer first, just because I'm gonna be using my Westman Atelier stick, which has cat hair on it right here. It's kind of my best bronzer color right now. And the nice thing is that when I put it on, it doesn't like the foundation doesn't come off onto the stick, so I can just like draw it straight on my face. I just need like a little bit today. You can kind of see how subtle that is. I mean, I guess I could use more, but it's fine. I'm gonna be using powder, but first, you guys know I always am gonna spray my face first so that I can put the powder on top of this. I forgot how aggressive this mister is. Oh my gosh. I have to like completely extend my arm out the whole way. Alright, and now I'm gonna take the, I'm just using the Anastasia loose powder. I feel like, I mean, it doesn't really like make my skin look dramatically blurred or anything, but it gets the job done. I find that this is really good for baking for some reason. So I just have been using this recently and it doesn't really bother me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I guess there's something to be said about the boring powder being the most reliable powder. I used a dewy foundation, so I am putting on a little bit more than normal, especially since I'm going to be using colorful colors, and I don't generally like it when my eyeshadow is super colorful with such a dewy base. I feel like they kind of are going to compete with each other. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pull that right back off. And my skin looks pretty nice. And now I'm gonna go ahead and just mist my face again. I spoil myself with that other D'Alba spray for sure, but I like try not to use it too often just because it's so expensive and I'm like loath to repurchase it. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and fix up my eyebrows before we move on to everything else. I'm just gonna be using my brow blade pencils. I have the two shades I always use as usual, so I use the pencil side of Cool Cookie, and then I use the ink stain from Blackout. Now I think my Cool Kitty pen side is actually like dried out, which is so strange because this is like way newer. I guess the Blackout side is just so like intense that it just, if it does dry out, I don't even notice because it's still really intense. I like went too high up. I've had like such a messy day today, and I guess I'm just gonna have messy makeup too. Wow, this is like so messy. I just want to like go get ice cream and call today a day. They are very distant cousins, I guess. The annoying part is that they arch in different places, so drawing them and making them look the same is basically impossible. Smoothing out the fronts does help a little bit. Alright, now we're gonna... That was almost a fail, but they look okay, I guess. So I'm going to go and put on some eye primer. I'm gonna use the Peilie's eye base. And I am gonna try and actually, I think this time I'm gonna try and set it with a eyeshadow color, the same color as my eyelid, just to see if maybe that's what I'm like not doing. Cause like a lot of YouTubers I watch don't set their eyeshadow base, and so I just was mimicking that, but maybe that's just not for me. I don't know. So I'm gonna try setting it today and see if that like changes how the eyeshadow lays down. Okay, so my eyeshadow primer is on, and now I am going to just kind of reach into a random palette and just grab one of those shades. I'm gonna take, I guess we'll just use ColourPop. This shade in Nude Mood is one of those shades that for me is such a waste of space, but I'll try using this and see what happens. It's called Bluffin'. You can't even see that I put it on. The only reason I don't like setting my eyeshadow like this is because I feel like once I do that, my eyelids become really dry. Like I can even just see the dryness, but I guess we'll just see what happens with this if this helps. And I'll just have to keep doing this. So the first quad we have is called Cherry Sweet, and it's the pink one. It looks like this. This is going to be Teeny Keeny, which is this orange themed one, really cute. A lot of orange. Next we have Cocoa Cutie. Now I have been doing a lot of blue looks on my channel recently, so I might have to sit this one out. And then the last quad is going to be Pineapple Cake, and this is definitely giving me the Sunflower palette vibes, but with shimmers, and it's obviously much tinier and much smaller, much more compact for yellows. Definitely really fun. I think I am going to use at least a yellow matte in this. I think I might base a look around yellow and go from there. And now there's two blushes. This is Aloha Honey, very orange, and then Island Shine. This one's a little bit more pink. I kind of think I might be going for this just because this will match whatever look I put on my eyes. I don't know yet. And lastly, there were 3 of these balms. I don't know if I'm gonna use them, or if I do, I definitely can only use one, but they're really cute, and the formula definitely is kind of up my alley of like that gloss in a stick. There's 3, and they all come in really, really cute packaging. Mine melted because summer. I had to put them in the fridge for a little bit, but as you can see, they're a little off center now. They're kind of mushed against the side of the tube, but that's okay, we can make it work. They all kind of look more or less the same. Definitely shades I can wear just normally, so they'll be good for me to throw on if I ever just need something. And then this last one is a really bright pink, so that'll be fun. Maybe I'll use this one today. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a super pink look. I don't do pink very often. I think I'm gonna go with like yellow and pink, which I know I've done yellow and pink once before, but not with these shades. We'll do that, and I am gonna put the blue quad away, but I think I might be able to film a second look with the blue quad on its own, or just do another mixed look. I might film this again tomorrow, but like I'll use this quad, and so then that would be like a second video, so hopefully that'll be okay with you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna turn up the lights first, just because Alright, I'm gonna start off with using the yellow matte, and I'm gonna first start with To the Core, and I'm gonna kind of let this be that inner half of the eyelid shade, and we'll see how well this yellow works out. I used the Peiliee base just because it's a little bit more opaque. I do want one that's a little bit more on the white side, kind of like the ABH eye primer, but like not as awfully and horrifically drying as that one was, which is why I had to get rid of it. I'm like tempted to try the Juvia's Place ones, but I don't know if those are any better. So now I'm thinking of like actually buying one of those, like, I don't know, like concealer palettes or something so I can use the lightest shade. I really have no idea. I am using I think this is a Chikuhodo brush, so if you guys want really good brushes but do not want to have to or are too nervous to deal with the maintenance of a natural hair brush, definitely go with Sigma, or I recently discovered Spectrum Collections. I got their little 4-piece Hello Kitty brush set because I couldn't resist Hello Kitty, but like, oh my gosh, those brushes are actually super legit. I am interested in trying BK Beauty, but I saw the price tag and like my jaw dropped a little bit. But honestly, for eye brushes, you can't go wrong with Sigma. I only have the 2 face brushes in the Spectrum collection, and they're not really face brushes I use, so I do want to get more face brushes from them to see what I think, and then I can recommend like synthetic face brushes. This is actually a pretty nice yellow. I like this a lot. It does require some building, but I've really never met a yellow matte that didn't. Alright, I'm gonna switch to the pink one, and my first initial kind of opinion is to use this. So I'm gonna use this first just because it is a little bit more of the orange in it. This is the shade Yummy. Very cute. And I'm just gonna put this on the outer corner. You can see it, this shade is definitely really super nice, so I'm like not super blending them together because there's gonna be stuff going in between them. I will say the mirrors on the quads are super tiny. I'm like having to hold it like all the way up here just so I can see. That's okay though. So now comes kind of the fun part or the scary part or whatever. I am going to try and merge the two together with the orange. So I'm going to take this shade right here from the orange quad. It is called Hula Hoop, and we're gonna pack this on between those 2 shades and see what happens. Actually really nice, like creating kind of a gradient on my eyelids. Now this shade does have some fallout, you can see right there, but I will see if I can brush it off. Yep, I'm able to brush it right off, but there is some fallout there, so just bear that in mind. I'm like, I think imprints on the shadows are always so cute, but then it's like once you use the shade too much, the imprint is gone, and that always makes me sad. So I'm like taking my brush and like tapping it along, like kind of around the imprint. I don't know if anyone else, I'm pretty sure other people do this, but I sometimes feel like it's a bit silly. I'm not the only one who does this, but like, I'm gonna go back in with yellow, that yellow shade To the Core. I'm just gonna kind of continue to refine this blend. The orange kind of overtook the yellow in some parts, so we're just gonna tidy that up a little bit. In my experience, yellows are also super susceptible to overblending, and then you have to kind of go back in and tidy it up. Alright, so that's what the eyes are looking like right now. Definitely super festive and fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and deepen up this entire look. I've decided I do want to use that shade, and I'm gonna go into Soda Crush, and I'm gonna use this to deepen up the pink. I've decided it would benefit from that. I'm kind of sweeping it up and out, like almost like it's liner. Oh no, I made like the worst error ever. This already had pigment on it and now they're mixing. Didn't put it in the wash pile, so I had no idea. Alright, we're switching to a different brush and hopefully I can cover this up. Oh, that was a mistake. Because I was like, why does it look so dark and desaturated? And then I was like, alright, just kind of see if we can cover this up a little bit. I guess mistakes happen, it's fine. Let's see what it actually looks like on the other eye now. And the worst part was that eyeshadow brush previously had a black on it. Okay, so without the contamination, it looks a little bit darker in the pan, but honestly, it's just like a super hot pink. So kind of good for adding a little bit of a colorful accent to the look for sure. So this is what we're looking like now. Definitely, we're just gonna pretend they look symmetrical. All right, I'm gonna just start to put this on the outer corner of my lower lash line. I know people like get really scared of pink because it makes you look like you have an eye infection. I don't know, I've never particularly cared if I look that way or not, so. And I'm gonna take Yummy again and I'm gonna blend out that shade. I find it looks really flattering on my eyes to take the outermost corner of shadow and blow it out. It definitely reminds me of like the yami kawaii or like the sickly cute kind of makeup looks, particularly for like cosplays and things, but I find that it's still something I can apply on the regular, and it actually like makes me look really cute, I think anyways, and I don't care what anyone else's opinion is. So I just blend it, especially if I blend it into my blush later, it's gonna look really good. So alright, so now we're just missing the accent color, so I could go in with the yellow shade again. I think it might actually look fun. I was thinking of using blue, but not really. Whatever. I'm thinking I might just go ahead and go in with shimmer and just kind of let that be. So I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, and I'm gonna put that on the inner corner of the lower lash line. This is called La Piña. Now, I don't drink, so I don't personally care for piña colada, but my mom really likes it, so I'm just gonna use this shade dry. I'm like always too lazy to wet my brushes for shimmer. That goes on really, really well. Looks really good. Actually looks really, really pretty. I'm gonna go in with Sandy, and I'm gonna use that as my inner corner highlight. This shade also has some fallout too. Definitely not unusual for shimmers though. I can't really say I'm super surprised. So the only thing about ColourPop shimmers, which is why I don't always buy from ColourPop these days, is I find their shimmers to be pretty pedestrian. Nothing to like write home about, which I mean, you know, it's fine, they're not expensive, but that just means for me it's like, I mean, it's pretty boring. So, but that's okay. I'm gonna go in with Sandcastle now, and we're gonna use this on the upper lid on top of the orange. I think it'll be fun to use some shimmers. See how it goes. Let's try going in with a little bit more product. Yeah, it's just really subtle, but you know, if that's your style, then more power to you. See if I use my finger. Yeah, this is the only reason I'm not like the biggest fan of ColourPop. I don't really buy everything they release. Although I sure wish I could, because some of their color stories always like entrance me. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't show up super well. Just feels, you know, it's not like a super special shimmer. I don't really feel like there's anything special about it. So it's hard for me to get excited about shimmers like this. Definitely something that their Super Shock shadows are going to be better at doing is providing this amount of punch that I wish I could have. And lastly, to wrap this up, I am going to take the shade Hibiscus. I'm going to use this on the outer corner. This one has like soft purple particles in it, so it looks really nice. I feel like I went a little bit overboard, so I am just gonna take a brush and try and kind of just diffuse all of this. I feel like the edges got a little bit harsh. Okay, that's a little bit better. It just always kind of ends up going everywhere. I don't know, I'm not super happy with how this is looking. Especially because you can see where the bad mistake happened. I am gonna go ahead and go back into this yellow matte to the core, and we're just gonna use this to see if we can just kind of softly diffuse everything out and add a little bit of that yellow touch. See if that can help calm everything down. Okay, I think that helped a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and call this the look. I'm going to put on some false lashes. I'm just going to do that off camera, otherwise it's a really huge hassle, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm just wearing a pair from Ardell. These are a little bit too long for this look, I think. The colors are light enough that I could have used a shorter pair, but need to refresh my lash stash, but I'm on such a low buy that I can't. Yeah, this is a little bit wild, don't you think? That's okay. And then for the lower lashes, I'm using the Lancome Lash Idol. It's in this new pink tube. I know my lower lashes are barely visible, but I feel like these look really good on my lower lashes. So because of how intense these lashes are, I am gonna go in with a little bit of false lashes on my lower lash line. And I'm just gonna fill in the gaps, particularly here where I lost a few lashes and now I have like a weird bald spot. And then here it doesn't need as much help. Alright, so that kind of is gonna balance the upper and lower lash lines a little bit. I think I could also benefit from some eyeliners. And then I'm just gonna add some baby wings on the outer corners only. Now when you have false lashes, on monolids, you can really get away with just drawing the tail of the eyeliner and having that be all you need, because the lash band is going to provide that definition of the eyeliner for you. So for me, whenever I wear false lashes, I literally am just putting in the tail, and it looks terrible once the lashes come off, but the lashes are not off, so it looks fine. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to the rest of the face. So because we have pink and orange, I can definitely use both blushes. So I'm gonna use this first, and then I'm gonna use orange. And I'm gonna try and not use too much. I do already have some bronzer on from earlier, as you guys saw. So I'm just gonna apply this. I'm gonna work this on the outer half of my face, and then I'm gonna work the orange on the inner part. So we're gonna have like a gradient effect going on. So this blush, so I actually love that this wasn't as pigmented as I expected, because as you can see, I'm able to build it up really well. And it blends really well. ColourPop's blush formula, I've never had complaints about. I just found the colors to start looking all the same after long enough, but the formula has never been a problem. Their blush formula for their pressed powder blushes has always been excellent. So if you ever want to get a ColourPop blush, really it's just a matter of finding a color that you think you'll like. I really don't think they've ever had an issue with their formula. Now, putting my blush this far back, I could call that a day and just be done, but we are gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna now go in with Aloha Honey, that bright orange blush I showed you guys earlier, and we're gonna wrap this along kind of right here, and I think that'll be really fun. Now this time I am gonna kind of start off a little bit more slowly. This one's pigmentation is pretty manageable as well, so I think you can create some really interesting combinations. You can even use blush to like contour the face indirectly, which is really fun. I feel like the many uses of blush definitely are super underrated on the Western beauty sphere. And I'm really glad that blush has been super trendy this year, but I feel like people still haven't quite realized just all the uses for blush. Do you see the difference though? It like brightens up my entire face. This still has a little bit of pink to it, so it almost doesn't really look like I used two blush shades. It just kind of looks like my blush got brighter, if you know what I mean. Just because this is not like a pure orange blush, otherwise the gradient would have been a lot more obvious. I am gonna go ahead and just kind of make sure the edges are extra blended by going over it with a productless brush. My face is so long, I just kind of fill it all up with blush, I guess. Whenever it's summer, my highlighter usage drops pretty significantly just because the humidity is going to do the do for me. So as you can see, my face is still looking pretty glowy. My most favorite product to use is definitely going to be this Jaclyn Mood Light. It can be used as an all-over setting or finishing powder, but during the summer, I love to use this to really enhance my cheekbones as the world's most subtle highlighter. And I just put it on like that, and I put on a lot more in one spot, whereas if I'm using it all over my face, I just dust it all over my face, and you can kind of see the effect here. You definitely have to use quite a bit for it to really start showing up as a highlighter, but it doesn't cake up or anything. And I really just put it on my cheekbones and call it a day. Anywhere else and I'm gonna look oily. Looks fine during the winter, but definitely not during the summer. So that's my go-to highlighter routine for the summer, really. I just don't want to look oily. When I'm highlighting my nose, I do not use that. I always kind of gravitate towards only a few highlighters for my nose. So the one I'm gonna use today is this Romand one. It's an 01. I'm not sure what the shade is because it's written in Korean. It's either like Sun Glow or Solar Glow or something. And I'm just gonna take my finger and we're gonna push this onto my bridge of my nose. And then I'm just gonna pop a little on the tip. So that's kind of how I do my highlighter during the summer. And that's gonna be it for the face. Bronzer is almost barely visible now underneath all that blush, but I can still kind of see it personally. So I'm gonna call that done. And now we're gonna move on to the lips. So I do really want to try these balms, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and use that hot pink one that I was kind of a little scared of. Yeah, it's called Hello Fruity. It's very, very pink. It smells like those kind of fruit punch themed gums or snacks. Definitely smells really nostalgic for me. So I'm going to first, of course, I have to line my lips. I guess I'm gonna stick with ColourPop. I'll use the Lippy Pencil in another round. This desperately needs to be sharpened, but this is kind of similar to Fawn, so I do really like it. I just don't use it as often because I have to sharpen it, and I don't really know how to sharpen this. So, and I'm just gonna overline a little bit as I always do. I really do need to sharpen this though. I feel like this is almost even more closer to my lip color than Fawn is. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and now we're gonna pop this all over my lips. Ooh, I really do like this formula. And it just smells so wonderful. Oh my gosh, so this I thought was gonna be such a hot pink, but it actually ends up looking so pretty. It's like they just took my lips and just made the color more saturated. Okay, I'm like in love with these lips. This is definitely the highlight of the collection. If you can only get one thing and you want it to be Hello Kitty themed and you want it to actually be usable, then definitely just get these, this balm set. Oh my gosh, these are amazing. I'm definitely gonna be making these like my new like everyday shades. To compare to my other tinted balms, definitely way more saturated than the fresh ones, way more saturated than Benetint. Like it has a formula that definitely feels like a true lip balm. The formula feels like a slightly less creamy version of fresh, and it's really hydrating. I can already see that my lip lines are not as obvious and my lips are visibly less chapped and even look more plump now because the hydration has just allowed the skin to become smooth and soft. It just feels really, really great. And this is definitely not the pink I was expecting, and in the best way possible. Oh my gosh, I'm like in love with this color. Yeah, I'm like super blown away by these. These are definitely worth every penny. If they ever come out with more shades of these, this might be one of those lip products where I start collecting shades, kind of like I did with Romand. They are less creamy than the M Cosmetics cushions and a little bit more sheer. Okay, well this is the finished look. I'm gonna do another one that's a little bit more blue based, and I'm gonna have that video up pretty much right after this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this slightly messy and chaotic get ready with me. Bye!